Silver's never gone to zero. Gold's never gone to zero. Oil or gas, they never go to zero because they're things, right? A cryptocurrency can go out of business tomorrow and it goes to zero. Even if cryptocurrency does it, what about the wallet that you have to, like FTX?
Saying money is the root of all evil, but that's often misquoted. It's actually the love of money, and not just money in general. So as we weigh out all these things that are happening in the world right now, what are some biblical principles you think that we can start applying and how to navigate these hurdles?
Well, number one, Proverbs tells us that a borrower is a slave to the lender, right? So get out of debt. In a rising interest rate environment, you need to get out of debt, right? And you need to have enough capital on hand to withstand a storm. So how much is that? Over time, I've found over the last 20 plus years that if you have about 3 months of expenses in cash, that's really what you need to keep it in the bank. Because if you have too much in the bank, well, then you're losing, because inflation unofficially is hovering over 20% right now. When you really look at the real metrics of how you measure inflation, well, you're only getting about 2% in your cash. So having too much means you're falling behind every month. Having too little affects your peace of mind because you don't have enough for an emergency fund or for operating capital. So now, you have to have enough cash on hand just for emergencies or operating. Get out of debt. And then lastly, it's like, be a wise steward with what you have, right? So there's the parable in the Bible that the parable of the talents, and there were the 3 servants, right? And the first guy, he did good with what he had, and he basically used the talents that God gave him, and he expanded them. And the other guy did kind of okay, right? He was the one in the middle. And then the third one, what did he do? He was afraid to actually do anything, so he buried them in the sand. Just he didn't want to lose them. Well, in the parable, Jesus, he didn't call him the stupid servant. He called him the wicked servant, right? Wicked is worse than being stupid.
Right.
So here's where, it reminds me of something that I heard Pastor Craig Rochelle talk about. I was with him at a conference over the weekend in Beaver Creek, Colorado. And he said something that really stuck with him. He said, the cost of inaction is almost always greater than the cost of a mistake, right? So as we move forward, we don't want to be afraid of a mistake, right? Like the wicked servant, right? Because the cost of inaction is always greater than the cost of the mistake. Meaning, you bury your talents in the sand, you don't do anything with it because I don't have a long time horizon to recoup losses. I'm afraid of making a mistake, so you don't do anything with it, and you just lose and erode your portfolio because of inflation. But what are you missing? In economics, we call this the opportunity cost, which is the cost of your greatest foregone alternative, right? So what are you missing? For example, silver is up over the last 3 months, up over 10%, right? So that's up over 40% for a year. If you annualize that out, that's great. That's what you're missing by just sticking. You're not doing anything. Let's just say, okay, I've taken the first step. I'm not allocated into the stock market, into the bond market because they're correcting, they're coming down. I'm just going to sit in cash. Well, okay, that's kind of okay, except you're losing. It's a guaranteed loss because inflation is hovering greater than what you get on cash. But what are you missing? You're missing out on what the trend is now, 40% growth in silver annualized, right? You're missing out on a lot. So don't let fear cause you to do nothing, because the cost of doing nothing and making a mistake is not as much as what you're going to miss. That's what I would like to leave people with.
All right. And obviously, we want to make sure that we are diversified across all asset classes. So some people might think that they're diversified because certain things are going up or down in the stock market, and that can balance it out. But you actually want to make sure that you have things outside of the market, and of course, as well, gold and silver. Some naysayers would be like, oh, I've been hearing gold and silver forever. What do you say to those people that are saying that's always been supposedly the solution, and maybe they aren't buying it since there's other options like cryptocurrency, etc.?
Well, our goal is to minimize risk and maximize return, right? So with the march towards central bank digital currency, central banks basically coming up with their own cryptocurrency, which is loss of freedom. It's a loss of privacy. That's the end result of central bank digital currency. What are central banks doing? They're demonizing other forms of cryptocurrency, BlockFi, FTX, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, you name it. It's like, ooh, you don't want decentralized cryptocurrency. There's no safety in it. You want our version of it, which has rules and regulations and oversight and all keywords for we're spying on your bank account, right? That's what that means. So when you start to demonize everything else, because you can't make yourself look better, so you tear everything else down. That's one way to look good, is tear everything else down. So even on the next tax return that you're going to be filling out for 2023, there's all these intrusive questions about cryptocurrency. What kind of digital wallets do you have? How much have you spent? How much have you received, right? And if you don't answer these honestly, you're in big, huge trouble, right? So they're trying to make it hard and make it unattractive for people to invest in cryptocurrency. So general rule of thumb, what we want to do is easily minimize our risk, maximize your return. How do you do that? You look at the trends. And so in this digital world that we're looking at, one of the trends is, well, you could go into cryptocurrency or you could go into gold or silver, right? Because they're both can perform very well. One is safer, one is more steady, one has extreme highs and extreme lows, right? So what's the makeup of your investment profile, right? Most people don't want to have risk. To me, cryptocurrency is very risky right now because it's being demonized. So
with
I
that
would
being said, Joe, with that being said, if you were actually asked, should I dump I think BTC means Bitcoin for silver. Should I dump my Bitcoin for silver? What would you say to that?
I would. I mean, but that's personality. I'd rather be safe than sorry, right? I would rather go into something that's steady, that has a tangible value. Silver's never gone to zero. Gold's never gone to zero. Oil or gas, they never go to zero because they're things, right? A cryptocurrency can go out of business tomorrow and it goes to zero. Even if cryptocurrency does it, what about the wallet that you have to, like FTX, right? It's like, oh my word. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different risk factors involved in cryptocurrency that you don't have with a tangible asset.
Right. Awesome. And if people want some personalized recommendations from you, they can just go to your website, right? KirkElliottPhD.com/KL and someone can give them a call and get some more information, right?
Absolutely. It's easy to do. Just fill out the online form and you'll be scheduled by one of our schedulers to meet with me or one of my amazing advisors, or simply call our number 720-605-3900 and say, Christy Lee sent me, right? So either one of those options will get you to us and will help you map out a strategy for success that'll get you out of the path of this hurricane.
What if people just have like preliminary questions? Is that first phone call? Is there a cost to that? Or is that just the first step? Or how's that work?
It's free. It's a free consultation, right? We don't know how to help you unless we ask you questions, right? You can't make a wise decision unless you have the information in front of you, right? So these consultations are free, and that's where we help map it out. And then you could say, yeah, let's do it, Kirk. That sounds awesome. That's what you're doing. Let's do it. Or you could say, not for me. Either one is just fine because it's your decision, right? Our goal, our calling, our anointing, our gifting is to help you, educate you on the reasons why you should do or not do something. And then the decision is always up to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Kirk Elliot, with me today. We're going to be checking in with you more and more because of all of the craziness that's happening in the world. That's the thing that I like about Dr. Kirk Elliot, is because he sees the full picture. He cares about the spiritual end of things, what's happening globally, instead of just like, I'm a financial advisor. You know what I mean? You look at the big picture, and I can appreciate that. And you allow that to work into how you make recommendations and your choices. And if that's something that you guys are interested in too, make sure you reach out, kirkelliottphd.com/KL, or just continue to watch from the sidelines, as we're going to be checking in with you a lot more and hearing from you. So thank you again for being on with me today.
You bet. It's my pleasure. We'll talk to you soon.